Hello and welcome back to your 17th intermediate Java tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about wrapper classes. This is again one of those things that I did use in the other tutorials, but I never explained them. So we're going to go ahead and make a video about them because, hey, they're on the AP thing and I'm trying to prepare everyone for the AP test. So wrapper classes. So as I'm making the package, I will explain to you what a wrapper class is. So, alright. So last time I explained to you the difference between an object and a class. So there's also a difference between a primitive type and an object type. So primitive types would be booleans, chars, bytes, shorts, ints, longs, floats, doubles. And your object types are your actual array lists and a scanner and all that, your classes that you make an object of. So sometimes you need to use a primitive type or an object type to describe a primitive type, for example, with array lists. We'll actually get into that later. And there's a way to convert a primitive variable to an object variable. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our main class with a static void main string args. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and write this part out. So the wrapper classes are as follows. So these classes are all built into Java. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put the primitive type here. So primitive, and I'm gonna put and then that, and then put wrapper here. So we got boolean, put two p's there, boolean, and that will be boolean. Char is character. Byte, a lot of these is just the first letter capitalized. Byte, like that one. Shorts, same thing, just capitalize yes, and you've got your wrapper. Int, we got integer for int. We've got long, that's just long. And we've got float, and double, which will be double. So, alright. So those are our wrapper classes. Today we're just going to look at integer. They all work exactly the same, so we're just going to do integers. So we're going to go ahead and do int, and it's going to be prim for primitive, a, because we're going to have the two little examples here, equals 10. So, we've got this primitive variable here. Look at it, so primitive. Now we want to convert this primitive to its object, to the wrapper class. So how do we do that? So we first make an integer, and we're going to call this object A1. We're going to make two objects. We're going to call this is equal to integer dot value of parameter A. So this just pretty much just builds a new integer that has this value. Okay. So this is manually converting this primitive type to an object type. We're just getting object type and we're sending it to the value of A, which is fine and dandy. But Java has this really neat little feature called AutoBoxing. So integer, you're going to obj b1 or a2, and we're just going to go ahead and set it to prim a. This is called AutoBoxing. What's cool about AutoBoxing is if it's a wrapper class, so if it's one of these, and Java knows that it's going from int to integer, or from integer to you're giving it an int, it's going to when it compiles, it's going to automatically add this dot value of prim a, so that you don't have to worry about typing that every single time. So this is called AutoBoxing. And you can see that it's going to work the same. We're going to go ahead and we're going to print out the string here. So we're gonna print out the primitive, primitive, and we're going to go ahead and do D, and we're going to tab and manual conversion and D, and we're going to tab again, and we're going to do AutoBox and then D. Alright, and then for the args, we're going to give it prim A, and then OB object A1, because that's the manual one, and then object A2, that's the AutoBox. You can see they all have the same value of 10, which is pretty sweet if you ask me. It's all the same thing because we've got these wrapper classes and we've got this AutoBoxing, which is a pretty sweet feature. So let's go ahead and let's convert from a wrapper or an object to a primitive. So we're going to have integer, or it's going to be B. So object B equals new integer. We're going to give this the value 40. Alright? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it the boring manual way. So obj dot int value. This literally just returns the as an int, the value. So there you go. Int prim b2. Now let's be cool and let's do the automatic. This is unboxing, where you're automatically setting this to this right here. So when you do that, the compiler automatically adds this .int value. It considers it as doing that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead. Wow. All right. I'm going to say it for the third time. We're going to go ahead and we're going to print this B stuff here. So object %D, all right, and then we're going to tab over manual conversion. Oh, that's how you spell conversion %D back, and we're going to tab over unbox. I never talked about these escape characters. You guys should look those up. Escape characters in Java. Just look that up. Google it. Obj B. So first we're going to print out the object. Then we're going to print out the primitive, the first primitive, and then the second primitive, because that's the super cool unboxing one. And all right. So they're all the same again, which is pretty sweet. That is some sweet, sweet wrapper class right there. So you are asking yourself, all right, Jose, I understand what all this is. You know, I get it. You know, it's just an object for the primitive. But why? The question is why? Why is this important? Why do I care? Why can't I just use a primitive? Why can't I use an object? Well, always use a primitive over an object. First of all, they use less memory and all that good stuff. They're just faster. But do you remember how when you have a generic class, like something that takes in a generic type, when you're making a class of it, it only takes object types. It doesn't take the primitive types. So if we were to make an array list, so an array list, all right, and we give it int list. This isn't possible. You can't do this. That's not right. It's not a generic class. That's just against the rules. So to do this, you'd have to use the wrapper class. All right. So that's why they exist. So new. Now you can make that array list. Oops. All right. So you can have an array list of ints just with the wrapper class, and now it just works like it. So you don't have to do intlist.add. You don't have to do new integer. You can just do 3 because of the handy dandy AutoBoxing. Yes, AutoBoxing for converting a primitive to an object. So it'll do its handy dandy AutoBoxing and just sys out, and we can just do the int list, because array lists have a nice little way of just printing. And you know, you can add as many as you want. Add. Oh, no, that's not right. Add, you know, 23 or whatever. You know, it adds it, and it's a list of integers, and it's great. It's fantastic. So that's what's great about wrapper classes and why they're important. They're probably going to be on the AP test. I don't know. This was just on the list, so I decided to make a video on it. Actually, fun fact, the next video I'm going to make, the instance of keyword, was actually not on the list, but it's extremely important. So it might not be on the AP test. It might be on the AP test. But this most likely will be on the AP test. Wouldn't be surprised if it were. So know what wrapper classes are. Know what they are for each of the primitive types. You know, it's not really hard. It's usually just the capital letter or just the full word if it's shortened, like int and char. So yeah. Love you guys. If you have any questions, comment. If you have any questions or comments, put it in the comment section below, and I will get back to you. I love reading comments, so there you go. So yeah, and I will see you guys again in 2 days. Bye-bye.